Hello everyone, Jessicann here. So this is episode 2 of my new car series. So in this episode, we're going to talk about negotiating and what actually happens when you sit down and start talking numbers with the dealer. All right, let's get started. So generally speaking, when you're negotiating the price of a car, you are really negotiating the selling price. That is the overall price that the dealer is willing to let the car go for. So how much can you actually negotiate? Well, typically you can try to negotiate up to 15% off the retail price of the car. And so if the retail price is $20,000, 15% of that is $3,000. So you can try to negotiate a price of $17,000. Now, that sounds very exciting to save $3,000, but there are a couple fees that you want to keep in mind. So let's quickly cover all of the numbers you're going to come across when shopping for a new car. First things first, the MSRP we just touched on is the manufacturer's suggested retail price. This is the price that the manufacturer is telling the dealer that they should sell the car for. But ultimately, the dealer is going to determine the price of the car, and so it is negotiable. And then there are a bunch of fees to consider. Now, there are a couple fees that are dictated by the manufacturer, so you can't negotiate on those, but there are also some dealer fees that you can negotiate on. So let's cover the non-negotiable fees. First, you have the title and licensing fee. So basically, this is the fee that is charged by the state to register your car and prove that you are in fact the owner. And the dealership is actually doing you a service and favor in helping you manage all of this so you don't have to go to the dreaded DMV. The second non-negotiable fee is your sales tax, and we all know what that is. You're charged a tax on basically buying anything, and this price is going to be determined by the state that you live in. The third fee is the destination fee. You know how when you're driving on the freeway and you see a big truck towing a bunch of cars and it always looks really terrifying? Well, that's essentially what you're paying for. You're paying the price of whatever it costs the manufacturer to get the car over to the dealership for you to then see, test drive, and ultimately buy. So those are some of the non-negotiable fees, but there are a couple fees that can be negotiated, and these are fees that are set by the dealership themselves. The first one is a documentation fee. So this is a fee that is charged by the dealership for basically processing any paperwork related to you buying or leasing this car. The second fee that you might come across is a marketing or advertising fee. Sometimes the dealership will sneak in there a charge stating that they incurred costs in advertising the car, getting you to the lot to look at it and purchase it. The third fee you want to look out for are just random dealer fees. They're going to slap some fancy name on it so it seems legit, but you'll see something like shipping or dealer prep. So make sure you keep an eye out for any funny looking fees that come straight from the dealer. There are a couple other amounts that you might come across, and that is your trade-in value for your car. Say you're bringing in an old car to trade in, as I contemplated with my Jetta, but then ultimately I was too attached, so I did not do that. But you can trade in your old car and they will basically appraise your car on the spot and offer you a price for it that you then deduct from the price of the new car. And then there are a couple of cash rebates or other discounts that the dealer might offer you. Oftentimes you'll see in commercials that if you purchase it this weekend, President's Weekend, whatever, you will get $500 cash back. Well, something to consider, while that is all great and amazing that they're giving you a discount, the sales tax is actually calculated on the original price of the car. So even if you are getting a discount of $500, you're still paying sales tax on the price of the car before that $500 is taken off. So something to consider. So now that we've covered how much you can expect to negotiate off the retail price, and then a couple of other fees and amounts that you will come across during the negotiation process, I want to quickly cover a couple of tips that I found useful in negotiating the price of the car. One thing is for sure, I'm never really comfortable talking about money, and it always makes me feel really uncomfortable sitting there and trying to negotiate something down. So I want you to know that doing your homework ahead of time, getting some competitive prices will make you feel more comfortable in negotiating in person with the dealer. So first things first, the dealer is going to offer you their selling price. This is how much they're willing to let the car go for. And you're going to be confident in asking them Well, is that the best that you can do? They will go back and they're going to ask their supervisor. Who knows, maybe they're playing Candy Crush in the break room during all of this because it takes so freaking long. But basically they're gonna go back, say they're gonna crunch some numbers and come back to you. And that's when you're sitting there getting a little nervous that they're not gonna come back with the price that you want. So that's my second tip, is to not be discouraged, because if they don't come back with the price that you're wanting, know that you're just starting out and you are shopping around, and this is part of the process. My third tip is to whip out the competitive pricing. So this is why doing some shopping beforehand online and over the phone is so important. The dealers are competitive, so you want to say to them, well, I shopped around and this other dealer is offering this price. Can you match that, or can you do better than that? My fourth tip is to look at the manufacturing date on the car and see how long that car has been sitting on their lot, because chances are if it's been there for an extended amount of time, then they're trying to get rid of it. My last tip is to just be prepared to leave. Let the dealer know that you're going to do some thinking. They're going to try to offer you a better deal once they see that you're ready to get up and leave. So that's it for this episode. I want to avoid throwing too much information at you at one time. In the next episode, I'm going to cover in depth my entire experience in shopping for a new car. I went to 3 different dealers, and I will do a breakdown of how the prices compared and what I was able to negotiate. And then lastly in that episode, I'm going to cover buying versus leasing, because I went into it thinking that I wanted to lease, and then I considered buying, and yada yada yada. So I want to cover that in the next episode. And again, if you have any tips to suggest, please leave them in the comments below. This is my first time shopping for a new car, and so this is all that I learned, and I would love to hear what your tips are. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!